All right, it is 4:02, so we're going to go ahead and get this started. So first off, welcome. I hope that everyone is having a wonderful day and is stayed safe yesterday during all of our exciting weather. Um, I'm JC Williams, the operations manager for Holspire, and I am excited to welcome you to Wisdom Wednesday. Participating in the Wisdom Wednesday webinars is an opportunity for you to learn from leading experts on topics related to healthy eating, active living, communications, advocacy, and more. We will be learning about prioritizing physical activity in schools with South Carolina FitnessGram. It takes a healthy village. Wow, words are difficult today. It takes a healthy village to raise a healthy child. Therefore, it's up to adults at the state level, in communities, at school, and at home to support healthy habits. Today, we will find out how to join the movement to support students' health from head to heart. We will hear from South Carolina school districts on how they have worked with state and community partners to use their fitness data to provide daily opportunities for physical activity before, during, and after school. Before we begin, I'd like to mention just two housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and made available on the Holspire website, and we would love to hear from y'all during the webinar. So please use our Q&A feature as well as our chat feature. We will have time at the end of the webinar for questions and answers from our outstanding presenters. First up, we will be hearing from Brianna Mealing. She is our South Carolina FitnessGram coordinator. Bree, I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, JC. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I'm glad that y'all are joining us today. Again, I am Brianna Mealing, and I'm the South Carolina FitnessGram coordinator at SCDHEC. And this is in the Division of Nutrition, Physical Activity, and Obesity Prevention. And I co-lead this FitnessGram initiative with Erica Ayers, and I'll get into those details in a minute. I would like to thank our funders at Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina Foundation and our partners for making this initiative possible. And excuse this slide, it's actually the wrong slide, y'all. I apologize. But next slide. And this is just a snapshot of some of our local, state, and national partners as well. Next slide. So just to get a little bit into what FitnessGram is. FitnessGram measures and improves student fitness by working with schools to enhance physical education and create more opportunities for physical activity. And not just schools, but also working with school districts and communities to provide proven practices to increase the amount of time students are physically active. So to better understand SC FitnessGram, you can sort of break it up into three parts. There's the software, where schools measure their students' health-related fitness for grades 2, 5, 8 in high school. Next slide. And then there's the system, which allows this data to be compiled and shared annually at the state level. Next. So these are the health-related fitness components where PE teachers measure the body mass index, cardiorespiratory fitness, muscular strength, muscular endurance, and flexibility. Next. And this data that's being collected, they provide students, parents, teachers, and administrators valuable information for a number of reasons. I just listed a couple here, but they're able to better understand the health of their students, to better assess risk of developing chronic health conditions. And teachers can even use this data to create individualized or class fitness plans, as well as helping their students to reach their own personal fitness goals and improving overall health and well-being. Next. And then that brings us to the movement. And this is our third component. So SC FitnessGram's movement strives to use this data to inform improvements in student fitness through enhancing PE and opportunities for physical activity before, during, and after school. Next slide. And just to go a little further, this is a snapshot of our current potential reach right now. So 90% of school districts across the state are participating using this FitnessGram software. And that's a potential reach of 1,000 plus student schools and then over 700,000 students. Next. And if you want to know what the data is showing us, this is a little snapshot here as well. So 3 in 4 students I mean, I keep saying students, y'all. 3 or 4 South Carolina students are not physically active. More than 50% do not have good cardiorespiratory fitness, meaning their heart and lungs are not functioning optimally. And the data also shows us that 2 out of 5 students are overweight or obese. And during the COVID pandemic, this made it difficult for students to be physically active. And if we dive just a little bit deeper, our African American females have some of the lowest rates of meeting fitness standards. And students who are living in poverty, as compared to other students who are not, they also have lower rates of fitness. Next. Now, to answer that poll question just a moment ago, what happened to youth fitness during the COVID-19 pandemic years? 59% of students had healthy weight, down from 65%, and only 51% of students had healthy heart and lungs, which pre-pandemic was around 60%. Okay, so the answer was 51. From the data overall, we see several areas of concern, and to summarize that briefly, the percentage of students at a healthy weight and healthy heart and lungs, that steadily declined over that time period. And this decline could be seen in both girls, boys, at each grade level, whether they were living in poverty or not. And these changes also in the fitness were results likely from a reduce in the students' physical activity during school years, which was mostly impacted by that pandemic. Next. So how do we address this? To ensure the wellness and academic success of our students in South Carolina, we must make students' fitness a priority. And we can do this by incorporating quality physical activity at school, at home, and in the community every day. And SC FitnessGram is just one resource to help to accomplish this. But really, we all need to work together to support students' healthy habits. And right now, next slide. We've been working with 3 school districts who we're calling our influencers. Next. And we worked with them over the last couple of years to see what proven practices work to increase the time for physical activity that students can have, the intensity of physical activity, improvements in quality of PE, and also to begin developing a culture or enhancing that culture of health and fitness. And so these are our awesome panelists who are joining us today. They'll be sharing these successes in their districts, which will be a good example overall, showing you how we're bringing it all together. So to help you to visualize that briefly, next slide, just kind of putting it together. But if we go back, PE teachers, they're collecting that health-related fitness data through the software. And then that de-identified aggregate data is being shared and analyzed and reported at the state level through the system. Then communication and professional development is provided to national, state, and local stakeholders on how this data and proven practices that support that PE and physical activity, how those things can be used to make decisions to improve student fitness and health. Next slide. So even better than the visual is our FitnessGram video that will show you this movement in action. So this was developed in partnership with Healthy Palmetto and 1,000 Feathers. So you can go ahead and press play, Jason. So FitnessGram is a movement to evaluate and improve student fitness in the state of South Carolina. Teachers, they collect health-related fitness data, and they utilize that data to improve student fitness by changing policies, programs, anything to provide opportunities for student health improvement.
We're like every other school district in South Carolina in that we have children who don't get enough exercise, they don't get enough physical activity. And our numbers actually show that, like most school districts, our children are borderline obese or are obese. And what we're trying to do is to help healthy habits so that when they carry those out of the school district, they'll carry those on for a lifetime.
By being a FitnessGram district influencer, we have been able to receive specialized professional development to support our PE teachers in the FitnessGram assessments improving that moderate to vigorous activity. Our partners have also helped us navigate those challenges. We're short-staffed, we don't have enough PE teachers, we don't have enough gym space. How do you make it all happen and meet those requirements? Also providing professional development for classroom teachers and working in physical activity into daily lessons and making that connection of how physical activity can improve in retention, instruction, how students enjoy the lesson.
Schools, they serve sort of as a hub for their communities. And so schools provide a safe place for students to be physically active.
Schools are critical in increasing physical activity and access for students because not all communities have sidewalks, safe places to be active outside. It's also more important now than ever. Since COVID, our students are really struggling. And so I think physical activity is a medicine that can help lots of students.
This is just an extension of what we try to do for kids. We're not just trying to create knowledge base, we're trying to create habits that last a lifetime.
Thank you, JC. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and we hope that it brought to light even more the important work of prioritizing PE and physical activity opportunities. And for me to go ahead and wrap up real quick, these are a few resources that we have that you can check out. There's a QR code, it's the same in the next couple of slides, but we have one-pagers that describe FitnessGram, and also the full youth fitness during COVID pandemic report alongside an at-a-glance version. That snapshot is here too. Next slide. And we also have one-pagers on how schools, communities, and families can support students from head to heart. Next slide. And this is just a quick pop-up of one of those examples of, what schools can do. For example, also showing what superintendents within the schools can do, school administrators, teachers, etc. Next. And finally, these are the information that you're going to hear from our influencers today. Some of those can be seen in the success stories that we have on our website as well. And next slide, because I think I'm almost over time. So thank y'all so much. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Christina. This is my information, and thank y'all again.
Thank you, Bree. The information is incredible, and we are so excited to see the work that y'all have been doing throughout South Carolina. So now we are very excited to hear from Christina Cody, who is the Fit Together project coordinator from Union County School District.
Thank you, JC and Bree. Okay, I have to give a shout out to McLean, Seth, and Tamina. Saw you guys in the chat. Hey, what's up? So I have served in Cherokee County and currently Union County schools with Fit Together. And I'm excited to share how FitnessGram has helped us and some things that are going on in both districts. So next slide. So FitnessGram, thanks to our PE teachers, provides a lot of useful data that we can use on grant applications. We coordinate it with community coalitions in the pursuit of common goals with community health improvement plans. So it's been an extremely valuable resource to see. Part of the BMI data, that's always kind of a burden for PE teachers. So what we did in Cherokee County was we partnered with our local Holspire, which is made up of tons of different people, especially DHEC. So our DHEC volunteers came out, Spartanburg Regional, all these community volunteers aligned with our health screening that our district nurse set up. And she even switched the screening grades, the vision, hearing, and dental screenings to align with the FitnessGram grades that we screen. And we included BMIs in that so that PE teachers didn't have to take time out of class to collect that data. That was very, very cool. Just having those community members come in and get to spend time with our students was fun. We had a lot of principal support. I help enter data into FitnessGram, the platform for those PE teachers, just to kind of take that burden off of them. They use the FitnessGram data locally in classrooms, helping with goal setting. And we have Coach Atkins. He, at Draytonville Elementary School, he developed a fitness challenge for adults and kids to kind of help encourage that physical activity outside of class, and also keeps up with the FitnessGram top 10, which is encourages students to really push themselves. Next slide. Celebrating the good is always important. We had 16 schools in Cherokee County receive America's Healthiest School Awards. So, you know, doing that extra work, and thanks to Seth for always pushing that out, and making sure that our schools get the recognition they deserve for all the hard work and the extra that they put into making an environment that's suitable and the best environment it can be to help students. Next slide. Some events that are intentionally planned to encourage physical activity. In Cherokee County, we have Coach KB. She plans a family PE day and a walk to school day. So there's some pictures up there. In Union County, Monarch Elementary hosted a parent night cosmic PE. So they had this whole little obstacle course, and different classrooms had different things for students to be active. And parents played, and it was just a great time for a school to have one of those required Title I meetings, but also to incorporate physical activity into a parent night where families could play together. Buffalo Elementary School hosts a walking club before school. Very cool. The PE teacher there, Coach McGee, started that up, and it's very successful. They eat breakfast, they hit the trail, and if it's cold, they're still walking inside and in the gym, and it's a good time for physical activity. It's been very successful. And then Union County had intercession and remediation days built into their modified calendar this year. And one thing that teachers really wanted and principals were encouraging was that physical activity break, where they're not just in there sitting on a computer or working the entire time. So at the elementary school level, we had 60 minutes of planned gym time, where we played different games, student choice, and it was a really good time to have students just have that break and get some physical activity in. Next slide. Working in extra movement during the day, I've seen it happen. It's an incredible thing of building a positive school culture. At Sims Middle School, the principal there started something this year with intramurals and clubs. It's based on grade levels. If you want more information about that, I can put you in contact with the principal there. It's been amazing, and they work for this belt. It's like a big wrestling belt, and everybody's fighting for the belt. So it's planned, structured play, which is really actually helping in those social skills that I've seen lacking since COVID. And you know, kids didn't learn how to play together, so technically they're a little like 2 years behind socially, and when you put them back together, sometimes it doesn't always go well. And so they're learning to play together again in that structured play, and I think it's helping some character building and school culture for sure. And then a lot of schools in Union County are using physical activity as rewards. So they call me, or they plan certain events and for rewards of grade levels, performance, iReady scores, anything, behavior awards. So getting on the calendar and just bringing stuff out and playing, it's been really fun. Next slide. So working physical activity into the classroom setting and really being able to work that into the learning. One class really took off with workout karaoke that we do. And I wanted you to hear from the students and a teacher about how that makes them feel in class.
I just like this because I like to get up.
I like it because this is something that not a lot of teachers use to help engage their students in learning.
It helps people focus and stuff. Like after this, we gotta do a test, And it's gonna help me focus.
It helps me because I get to be more excited, and it gets me to be more like comfortable and happy and fun. And then we're doing this test, so it's gonna make me more comfortable.
It made me feel better about myself, and it was fun to do.
So I really enjoy using music and activity in class because, one, I think it builds a sense of community. They find out who can sing and who can't, but they also figure out who is more active and willing to. But also, I've noticed that when they get finished, they're much quieter, which shocks me. So I really enjoy it. I won't ever not do it.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Always love to hear from the students. And hey, Emmy, whoop, whoop, Cody Clan. Staff wellness. In Cherokee County, Will DeBoard there is a wellness coordinator. He planned Walktoberfest, Winter is Coming challenge, and it was part of a cancer awareness drive for some of our staff members there that are battling cancer. And it turned into this whole awareness drive, and that couple, the camps have really stepped up, and it's helped a lot of people with some coping. There's some step challenges at different schools in Union County, the employee support programs, gym discounts, and Buffalo Elementary is really good about planning staff events. So we went on this hike and had a great time, and it's just fun to get out of the building and do something different. Next slide. So working upstream with the physical activity, Coach Camp, the legendary, you saw him in the video, he's the GOAT. At Furman University, working with future teachers and incorporating that kinesthetic movement and intentional movement with the learning. Hosting professional development with first-year teachers and staff, helping them use that as a coping mechanism too, with those really hard first year, all the stress that comes with that. Working more in advocacy and helping students really advocate for their own physical activity, and then sharing lessons learned. You can see Seth down there. We went and presented at the Title I conference with principals from Union County, and it was good to share all the good stuff that's going on in Union with them. Next slide. So the biggest part of Fit Together is youth power. So I get to work with a team of students in every building, and these students are the ones making change. So they go through a leadership training, they've done needs assessments using our Healthier Generation assessments, and they've also developed their own surveys for their peers. And right now they're in the process of analyzing all that data and prepping their initiatives. We kind of have an idea of what they're going to do, but the next step is making it happen. So we're excited to see what changes they bring to their schools. Next slide. And the only way to be able to do anything in a school where you have all these silos that have existed since the beginning of time, how education is separate from health, we really, and business and all the other sectors, like we really got to work on breaking those down, because we couldn't accomplish anything without community partners. And two of the biggest ones, if you have a wellness coalition in your community, I encourage you to reach out. They want to help in schools. They have resources, they have people, they have grants that they can help you with. And they have been the backbone of what we've been able to accomplish in Cherokee and Union counties. My position is grant funded and has been for the past 5 years. So it's just been a whirlwind, and I always know I can reach out to somebody in those organizations to help. So I encourage you to do that. And
Thank you, Christina. Excellent information shared. I do also want to share a post in our chat from Seth Shelby, because he writes it eloquently. Everyone's able to read it, but just so it's on the recording for us to all acknowledge Christina. Seth writes, Christina helps empower that connection between administration and the PE teachers. These initiatives in Union are a representation of what happens when you create a culture of wellness versus just approaching it from a lens of compliance. The way school administration buys into health and wellness has been an intentional focus, and Christina has been instrumental in helping pull back the curtain for them to see the benefits. That connection between the school wellness teams, district wellness teams, and community coalitions is foundational to this work. Anytime Seth needs inspiration, he visits Union. So if you haven't gotten a chance to work with Seth or Christina, great things are happening in Union. So thank you again for sharing. Next, we will hear from Elizabeth Starling from Kershaw County School District.
Thank you, Daisy. I'm excited to be here. I am the coordinator of nursing services for Kershaw County School District, and I'm also the point person for FitnessGram, the influencer portion for our district. Next slide, please. Just to give you a little information on our county, for those that aren't familiar, we are northeast of the Midlands or Columbia, and we have about 65,000 population. Our county is pretty widespread. We have 16 schools, a technology center, and an alternative school. Next slide. So Christina mentioned healthy children are better learners. She mentioned the connection between health and academics or health and learning. And we know there's a connection, but how do we show there's a connection? And that's where FitnessGram comes in. That's where the data comes in. We see that 1/3 of our school age youth are either overweight or obese and did not meet the healthy fitness zone for cardiorespiratory fitness in 2019. This data is powerful, and it's important to have this so that we can show where we are and show where we need to go and why. Next slide. So we were fortunate to dig into our specific data through a data walk with DHEC at our FitnessGram Summit, and it was eye-opening. If you look at this slide, it's one of my favorites. It shows you where our schools are, where our parks are, and then it shows you the life expectancy. And we were astounded to see that there's a 10-year difference in life expectancy in our county from the northern end to the middle of the county. 10 years, not many miles, but 10 years. So when you think about that, you think about the students that live in that northern area, and you look at the map and see there is a school, there's one park, there are not a lot of opportunities for physical activity. So how do we change that? Next slide. If you look at our weight status and the percentage of our students meeting the healthy fitness zone, you can see how we compare to South Carolina. You can see that really only half of our students, and it's less for students in poverty, meet that healthy fitness zone. Next slide. Again, this is by grade, and this data is what's collected from our PE teachers. Fabulous data to have, very rich data, and our district has participated in FitnessGram for several years. So we've got a lot of good data to compare and to show where we are and what we need to do to be better and move forward. Next slide. So when we talk about cardiorespiratory fitness, why is that important? Why does it matter if our kids meet that healthy fitness zone for CRF? Well, we know it's an important marker of physical health, mental health, and academic achievement. There's that connection. Healthy children are better learners. Next slide, please. So if you look at our specific cardiorespiratory fitness in Kershaw County, you can see that only half of our children are of normal weight meet that CRF, that healthy fitness zone for cardiorespiratory fitness. And 1/4 of our students who are overweight and obese meet that healthy fitness zone. So we definitely have some improvement. Next slide, please. So we know there is a connection. Cardiorespiratory fitness is influenced by physical activity, nutrition, the environment, genetic, age, sex. Some of those we can control, some of those we cannot. So let's look at what we can control. You see, physical activity is number one on that list. So we know that it influences cardiorespiratory fitness, influences academic performance, cognitive health, mental health, cardiometabolic health. There are many, many, many benefits to having high cardiorespiratory fitness. Next slide. So physical activity. We know that our children and youth have low cardiorespiratory fitness levels. We know there's a direct link. And we know that low cardiorespiratory fitness levels can lead to chronic disease, such as type 2 diabetes and heart disease later in life. We also know that our schools have resources available to encourage and promote physical activity. So in our district, we looked at how can we use this data, this rich FitnessGram data, to make a change in our schools. Let's start with our schools. Let's start with our school campuses. Next slide. So we partnered, once again, like Christina said, we are very fortunate to have a wonderful coalition in our county. And I agree, and I encourage you to connect with a coalition in your county. And if you don't have one, reach out to one of us and we can certainly connect you with people. The coalition is comprised of many community partners and organizations. And that's really where I started. And was very fortunate to meet some people from DHEC and to form partnerships and relationships and dig into the data and talk about what we could do as a school district to move this data up. We want these children to be healthy. We want them to be better learners. We want them to be successful even after they leave our campuses and live long, healthy lives. So how can we make that happen? So we were able to present this data to our school board. People from our coalition came in support of that proposal. We proposed an open community use policy. Our district did not have one. And we were able to tailor it to our district's needs. We addressed concerns. We were prepared with information thanks to our DHEC partners. And we addressed concerns when we proposed the policy. We also had partners from Pulsefire and DHEC read letters in support during our public forum at our board meetings. I encourage you to be prepared with your data and show your board where your specific county stands. And in this data, the data is powerful and it speaks volumes. Be prepared, address their concerns. We did have some concerns come up, and we were able to address those with data and with information that was provided by DHEC. We were able to tailor our policy based on those concerns. And then DHEC partnered with us to print signs for us to post. So we did pass the policy to open up our elementary school parking lots and playgrounds for community use. Next slide. And we also have started working individually in our buildings on our wellness teams. And we're very fortunate to have a partnership with Alliance for a Healthier Generation. And they've been fabulous in helping us get our wellness teams established, get our goals set for our schools. And this is just a snippet of one of our schools, the wellness team at Lugoff Elementary School. They did win one of America's Healthiest Schools in 2 categories. They have developed a walking track, which is on their playground, which is fabulous. It's in the fenced area. So during recess, you can see the students using it in that first picture. They have signage to show you how far you're walking and how far you can walk. And we had a grand opening. It was a really big event. And the community is also using that walking trail. Next slide. Midway Elementary is another one of our smaller elementary schools who was announced as America's Healthiest School. They are also working with community partners to build a walking trail. They don't have one yet at their school. They're in the design stage right now. So they're hoping to build a walking trail and get that started. They're also talking about school gardens, and they have a very active wellness team and they've got a lot planned. They've also incorporated physical activity and nutrition lessons into their third, fourth, and fifth grade classrooms. So the school nurse will go in and do a lesson once a week on healthy eating or exercise or nutrition for those third, fourth, or fifth grade students. They also are one of our schools who will be participating in the walking classroom through the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. So we're excited for that. Next slide, please. Lugoff Elementary School also did a parent to PE day. They combined a mini golf unit that the fifth grade students did with a STEM unit that the science teachers did. And they partnered with a local mini golf business and set up a course for the parents to come in and community members. They had over 200 people from the community participate in the parent to PE days. Very great opportunity to demonstrate, first of all, what physical activity looks like in a PE classroom and to show that it can be fun. Next slide. Our technology center has our high school students, and their focus, their wellness team this year is focusing on mental health. And they've developed a calming corner for students and staff. I have seen staff use this corner. There are several things that you can read on mental health and mindfulness and some activities to do also. So we're excited about the things going on in our county.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you for showing us the importance of using this data to not only benefit our students, but our entire communities. Just shows how much those partnerships mean from both directions. Next, we get to hear from Keith Brown, who is the District Physical Education Coordinator from Georgetown County.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just hope everyone did okay with those winds and rains and storms yesterday, and I hope you all are doing well as you start back to your schools in your next semester. I'm in Georgetown County School District down here on the coast, and so it's a great place to live until it becomes hurricane season. Then it's a little nervous place to live. But we'll go ahead and just click through some slides here. We can actually click through this one fairly quickly. Just a little bit about me. I'm in my 45th year. I got a lot of different things that I've done over the course of the years. And I've been an administrator in elementary, middle, and high school. Right now, I handle the FitnessGram, the Healthy Alliance grant, the First T program, and I teach CPR, and I supervise all of our physical education teachers. We actually created our own physical education and health mission, which just goes along with our district mission, but we worked on this for several weeks and came up with this mission for the district's physical education and health program is to promote health and physical fitness as fun and necessary by teaching physical skills, healthy habits, teamwork, sportsmanship, and cooperation. So I thought that was really neat to be able to have our own mission statement. Next slide. All right, click on through. Okay, so you can see some of the things that we have been doing, started or completing testing. We've got a good high percentage of things, and we've got the schedule of some of our schools are on a classic schedule, some of them are on a 4x4, and so some of the testing is different. But we wanted to make sure, now this data is a year and a half old. We wanted to make sure we had enough testing equipment, and we do pretty much now at all of our schools, thanks to a grant that we did with the Healthy Alliance or Alliance for a Healthier Generation. Seth Shelby helped us a great deal with that. Click on. Most of the principals, and we used to have, let me click this out of the way. Most to have of our elementary schools, purely elementary schools, 6 out of the 8 schools now report that the students have access to the school grounds either before or after school for some free play. And of course, they have signs posted and all gone through our legal department folks, but it's good that they have those. Now, the ones that don't pretty much are in those rural areas where it's not really feasible to walk or even ride your bike to school. They're really some of those schools that are out there pretty good, but for the most part, we're opening those up and having those allowed, and we have some parks that are being built by some of the schools as well. And our students are receiving 20 to 30 minutes of recess every day, along with the regular physical activity. Go ahead. You can see one of the areas that we want to try to concentrate on is the cardiovascular fitness. 49, 30, and 41. Now this is right at the COVID year data of the 2021 data. And right now we've got a new grant that we're passing to our 5th graders, hoping we can get them on board and then let that carry over to the 8th grade. I think more and more of our kids are staying inside and playing video games rather than getting out and being active, but we're hoping to turn that. Go ahead. And that's just some of the data we'd have to break down a little bit to see. But what I always try to do is when we get our data is I'll go to the far right side and I'll put either an arrow up or an arrow down showing our progress from one year to the other. Next. You can see some of the FitnessGram data for our school year for our 2nd, 5th, 8th, and high school students. District-wide, we came up a little bit. The FitnessGram report, we think is very important for our young people to be able to get that. And I really try to push them, and they all do a great job of getting their data in and getting their reports run. In fact, when they do the reports, I've asked all the principals to make that a part of their checkout for the semester or checkout for the end of the year. They have to turn in their fitness reports before they go or show them. So they go into the homerooms to give those out or to the classrooms. And we actually have a video channel where we show them how to do some of these, and especially since we've got the upgrade on the FitnessGram. Be glad to share our channel with you if you'd like to see some of the YouTube videos we have. Most of those are from using the use of technology, which we encourage our physical education people to do as well. And I did that for the last 10 years of my career before I sort of semi-retired. Next slide. And then next slide, we want to take a look at our adult population. So what we are seeing in our adult population is that we have an overweight adult population in a lot of our areas. And we're a little higher in the overweight in our county than we are in South Carolina. And the obesity, we're not quite as bad, but we're not where we need to be. So we're trying to find ways to involve our community. And I'll tell you a couple of those as we go along. But if we can get them involved and let them do things from home and show the physical activity, non-leisure time activities among the adults, what we have, no leisure time and then some leisure time. But we realize that parents are out there. Sometimes they're single parents and they're working a lot and they don't have that opportunity. But we're trying to find different creative ways to be able to do that. Next. Here's one of the things that was interesting when we started looking at it is our life expectancy. If you'll look at the ones over there on the far right, you'll see 83.3 years. Those areas generally have more parks near the school, more recreation areas near the school, more tennis courts, more pickleball courts, more open field, track kind of areas, more soccer programs, because of the availability of those. And the further out in the county you go, the more rural, they don't have as many of the kind of parks. And so that's one of the things that's a concern to us. So trying to find creative ways to involve our adult population. Go ahead. And you'll see a lot more of the parks and near the schools over there on the far right, like I already had shown you on the previous slide. Go ahead. Okay, in our schools, here's just some of the ideas of some things that some folks do. You can go ahead and just click through. One of our schools have a warm-up competition. They have it posted on their board. And you can see on the top left, they've got their championship belt that they wear around school. And it's fun to go watch them in the schools walk around with those championship belts as I go in and visit the schools. Okay. At Kensington Elementary, they got a Pacer Wall of Fame. So they have their boys and their girls and who is doing what and their numbers. All right. Walkoma High School has what they call a horseshoe challenge, trying to focus on the arm and strength shoulder strength and ab strength. And so they have this wall, and it's set up about 8 feet off the ground before they get up there to it. So they have to get a big giant pad. They help lift them up. And if they go up and over and down, they're rewarded with a t-shirt, and they put it out on a display board and on their own individual websites that call them the Ultimate Warriors. Go ahead. McDonald Elementary put in a climbing wall. Several of our schools put in climbing walls this year. Okay. This is some outdoor activities that our young people are able to do, some fitness stations with the use of our Healthy Alliance grant. And this is Andrews Elementary. It is one of the more rural schools in the area. However, they've got these fitness areas, and the kids are drawn to them, so they love to go out there and do those. Andrews High School, they have a strength training program, and it is geared toward FitnessGram. So whatever areas that the students need to work on, the teacher helps them write their own individual program to improve that particular area, whether it's push-ups or cardiovascular or abdominal curl-ups. Okay. That's just another slide of the same kind of thing. I don't know if this video might play. You can turn the sound off of it. This is one of our elementary schools where he sets up a little station, and he's sort of demonstrating the way he has them go through it. Now they have kindergarten 1, 2, and 3. It's actually child development, kindergarten 1, 2, and 3 at this school, and then those kids go over to the intermediate school, grades 4, 5, and 6. But this is one of the PE teachers and what they design and come up with. He usually has about 4 of those stations set up. He's demonstrating just one right now. He is though. Go to the next one. This is Welcome Intermediate. They have badminton with Grandparents' Day. So you got a bunch of grandparents in there that come in and show up during those particular kids' time in PE. And they had not necessarily a tournament, but they involved them and let them get in and play. So that was a great reach out for them. This is a collaboration project that we did with our schools, started a couple of years ago, and we thought it would be very beneficial. So this is an example of the middle school PE curriculum collaboration project. And what per 9 weeks is what a school does. There's Carvers Bay Middle School at the top, and then you'll see Georgetown Middle School, and they've got some more underneath there. But what they do is they put in the activities they're doing for the first 9 weeks, some of the major activities, and then the standards. And if they have a health program things going on, they put those in on the far right. And then Georgetown Middle School does the same. And all of the middle schools have access to this document. So they can go in and change and add to. But then if a particular middle school said, you know what, I've done the same old activities all the time. I don't know what else. Maybe I can do something a little bit different, a little bit more creative. So they're able to go in and see what other schools are doing and get some ideas from that. So we have an elementary group, a middle group, and then a high school group. We also do a lot with Google Classroom, and I will help them with running the Google Classroom with all the different things that they do, announcements, anything that we have for that. So they enjoy going into there and finding their announcements and their videos in it. Go ahead. This is a program we started several years ago. This is called Fit Today for You. And what it encompasses is we have fitness stations. Go ahead. We have fitness stations in our schools. And what they do is if they need to, I'll help them do their schematic of their building. And they measure off either by actual stepping or with one of those little wheels that walks around and tells you how many steps there are. And then you can sort of see the arrows or the traffic pattern that they use and how many steps are on that particular hallway. How many steps, if they make the whole track, would they get? And along the way, there are several different fitness stations. And it's fun to see if you're walking in the hallway when you're going from one place to another or to a meeting to see superintendents and secretaries and HR folks walking up down the hallways. And I said, you going to a meeting? I said, nope, just getting them steps. So it's a fun thing to do. We have one of these in all of the schools, and we have different stations. I'll show you those. Go ahead. Here's some of the stations we have them. And of course, we encourage them all to make sure that they have on good non-slip sole shoes during the station break. And the fitness stations are really great. It's so cool to watch after the lunch period, to watch the cafeteria ladies change their shoes and get moving up and down the hallway and pumping their arms as they're going through there and doing these little fitness stations. Some of the cafeteria workers, along with some of the custodial staff, are actually moving around and doing these. So that's really cool to see. Yep. FitnessGram expectations, physical fit for the teachers, and just some of the things that we know that we already have to calculate. So everybody knows those. It's in that FitnessGram 101 administration manual on your website. Go ahead. And I'll just end by saying a few things here. We have a website where if folks happen to be homebound, students happen to be homebound, they've got all kind of activities on there for them to do. Our teachers actually submit those, and I'll put those in. I visit all the schools several times during the course of the year. I have a feedback form that I give to them after I leave, and I wrote it when I was a technology coach. So what I'm able to do is when I go and visit their school, I'm as candid and as blunt, without being rude, of course, as possible, for what I saw. And if I was their administrator and I came in and I observed their classroom, what would I say? What would I give them back? So I give them that feedback, and they appreciate that. So they're prepared for that. We also have that YouTube channel I mentioned a few minutes ago. The First Tee program is one of the ways that we involve our community. We teach character education through the game of golf. And it starts in our elementary, it goes all the way through 5th grade. And we actually take our 4th graders to the golf course several times during the semester for an hour and a half to get some things in there. Last year we did a Champions Challenge, and we've done that every year, except for the COVID year, of course. But we had over 100 community volunteers to help with this, including some parents and lots of people from the community to help run this all-day competition. And I guess the challenge that we have is I encourage my teachers to be very creative, to of course follow the standards, but to be very creative. And I tell them, don't follow the path where the path may lead, but go where there is no path and leave a trail. So that's what I hope that they would be able to do, coming up with their creative ideas to be able to go through the things that we're doing in our schools to improve our kids. So don't follow where the path may lead, go where there is no path and leave a trail. There's my contact information. If you'd like me to send you anything, or if you'd like me to come to your school, I'd love to come to your school, your district, help you with the PD. I've done that several different places, and love to do that with you.
Thank you, Keith. There's so many amazing things going on at each of the schools in your district under your leadership. Thank you for sharing all of that information with us. We are coming up on the 5 o'clock mark. So if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat real quick. If you think of them after we end today, you are welcome to email myself or any of our presenters, and I will be sending this information as a link to the recording within the next week. And that'll include the contact information if you do have specific questions to follow up with our presenters.
JC, thank you for hosting this with everyone today. And I know I speak for all the other folks that have presented, but a good shout out also to Brianna Mealing and Erica Ayers and Seth Shelby, who've been so instrumental in following up with all of the things that we do and encouraging us and helping us along the way. So shout out to them and to you as well.
Thank you, Keith. And I do want to just give y'all a huge thank you for the important work that you do every day with our students and in our communities. Your impact is reaching so much farther than our children, and it's wonderful to see. So thank you. And to everyone who has joined us today, we do hope that you will join us again on February 28th as we continue our conversation on advocacy with Alan Madison. So thank you. And we are signing off for today.